Standard 8 Geography Chapter number 3 Humidity and Clouds. Introduction.
Can you tell? Look at the pictures shown in the figure. Discuss the weather conditions shown in these pictures in the class and write the descriptions.
Answer. Picture 1. Weather condition dry and hot. Place Rajasthan, Thar. Picture 2. Weather condition hot and humid. Place coastal city, Mumbai. Picture 3. Weather condition cold and dry. Place Kashmir, Himalaya mountain.
Geographical explanation. Generally, we keep talking about the weather conditions. We can identify the weather conditions through the conversations. We experience the dampness or dryness in the air throughout the year. The changes occurring in the weather conditions in desert areas, coastal areas, and mountainous areas is evident from the figures. Rajasthan lies in a region with dry and hot air. There is hardly any moisture in the air. People wear loose cotton clothes. Kashmir Valley lies in a region with cold and dry air. Moisture is minimal in the air. People cover themselves with warm clothes. In Mumbai, the air is hot and humid. There the proportion of moisture is very high in the air. In addition, if dark clouds cover the sky, the content of moisture in the air increases. In the above discussion, the words hot, moist, cool, etc. shows the condition of the air. They relate to the content of the moisture in the air. Moisture in the air is invisible, but it is the major component of air which is taken into consideration while discussing the weather of any place. For precipitation to occur in any place, presence of moisture in the air is very important. Think about it. During winter, when you exhale on the glass of your mirror, what happens? If you try to do this in summer, why doesn't this happen?
Answer. Winter, the moisture holding capacity of air is low due to low temperature. Therefore, when we exhale on the glass on the mirror, the condensation of water vapor present in the exhaled air takes place. As its effect, very thin water drops are found on the glass of mirror. Summer. The moisture holding capacity of air is high due to high temperature. Therefore, when we exhale on the glass of mirror, the water vapor present in the exhaled air gets absorbed in air. Therefore, no water drops are found on the glass of mirror.
Evaporation. Evaporation is the process of converting water into steam or water vapor. Because of the sun's heat, the water on the earth gets converted into water vapor. The process of evaporation is dependent on the dryness, temperature, and the speed of the wind. If the air is dry and hot, the rate of evaporation increases. The process of evaporation continues even in dry and cold air. On the other hand, evaporation occurs very slowly in moist air. If the velocity and temperature of the air is high, then evaporation occurs rapidly. If the wind is blowing slowly and the air is cooler, then evaporation occurs slowly. Use your brain power. In which season do the clothes dry fast?
Answer. In summer season.
In which season do the clothes take time to dry? What could be the reason?
Answer. In rainy season, because the air has a lot of water vapor on it, and it cannot accommodate the water vapor created by the wet clothes, so the water remains in the clothes for a longer time.
Humidity in the air. The proportion of water vapor in the air is called its humidity. The dryness or dampness of the air depends on the proportion of water vapor. Air can hold moisture in specific quantity at specific temperature only. As air cools down, its moisture holding capacity reduces. This implies that warmer air can hold more moisture than cold air. At a certain temperature, the moisture holding capacity of air becomes equal to the proportion of moisture present in it. This condition of air is called saturation of the air. Try this. Take a colander or tray which is deeper in the center. Take a piece of sponge. On the flat part of the tray, make holes with the help of nails. Keep the sponge on the center of the tray or colander. Make sure there is no water in the sponge. Pour water on the sponge with a big spoon. The students in the group should note how many spoons of water have been poured. Keep pouring water with the spoon till the sponge becomes wet with water. Note what happens if you keep pouring water even after that. Now answer the following questions. What happened to the water which was poured initially?
Answer. The water which was poured initially was absorbed in the sponge.
When you were pouring water on the sponge, what did you expect?
Answer. We expected that water will trickle out from the sponge.
What happened when you poured more water on the sponge?
Answer. The water trickled out from the sponge.
What conclusions can you draw from this?
Answer. After certain limit, the water holding capacity of the sponge come to an end and it becomes saturated.
Geographical explanation. Let's suppose that the air is like a piece of sponge. How many spoons of water does the sponge absorb? After the sponge is full of water, drop of water start trickling out. One can tell the number of spoons of water required to make the water trickle down the sponge by observation. This implies that the water holding capacity of the sponge is fulfilled. This makes it saturated. Similarly, when the proportion of moisture in the air exceeds its vapor holding capacity, precipitation in the form of rain or snow occurs on the earth. The moisture holding capacity of the air depends on its temperature. Higher the temperature, higher the holding capacity. We have learned earlier that as we go higher in the sky, the air becomes cooler. So as per this rule, as we go higher, the vapor holding capacity of the air will decrease. The following table will make it clear. At 15 degrees Celsius, the capacity of 1 cubic meter air is to hold 12.8 gram of moisture. If this amount of vapor is present in the air is said to be saturated. This humidity in the air is expressed in different ways. Give it a try. The vapor holding capacity of 1 cubic meter of air in various temperatures is given here. Calculate the difference in the capacities by observing the table.
Temperature of the air 0 degrees Celsius. Vapor holding capacity gram per cubic meter. Difference in the capacities gram per cubic meter. -5 3.26 nil. 0 4.85 1.59. 5 6.80 1.95. 10 9.40 2.60. 15 12.83 3.43. 20 17.30 4.47. 30 30.37 13.07. 40 51.12 20.75.
Always remember, generally, humidity of the air is measured in grams per cubic meter. When the humidity in the air is 0 gram per cubic meter, the air is said to be dry. If the humidity in the air is 30 degrees Celsius, temperature is 37 grams per cubic meter, then the air is said to be saturated. Absolute humidity. The amount of water vapor in 1 cubic meter of air is the absolute humidity of the air. For example, the absolute humidity of the air near coastal areas is higher than air in the interior. Absolute humidity is higher in the equatorial areas, while it reduces as we move towards the poles. The distribution of land and water on Earth and the seasons also affect absolute humidity. Use your brain power. In which season is humidity generally more?
Answer: in monsoon.
How does humidity affect the human body?
Answer: the rate of respiration and sweating increase.
Observe how humidity affects the food materials at our home.
Answer: fungus flourish on food materials and it gets spoiled.
Is there a relation between the formation of fungus and humidity?
Answer: yes. Humidity supports the growth of fungus.
How is the early or late drying up of clothes related to humidity?
Answer: as the moisture holding capacity is found to be high in low humidity air, it leads to early drying up of clothes. As the moisture holding capacity is found to be low in high humidity air, it leads to late drying up of clothes.
Relative humidity. The amount of water vapor present in air can be expressed as a percentage of the amount needed for saturation at the same temperature and same volume. It is expressed in percentage. Relative humidity is equal to absolute humidity upon vapor holding capacity into 100. What will be the relative humidity of air whose absolute humidity is 20 gram per meter cube and vapor holding capacity is 30 gram per meter cube?
Answer: given absolute humidity is equal to 20 gram per cubic meter. Vapor holding capacity is equal to 30 gram per cubic meter. Relative humidity is equal to absolute humidity upon vapor holding capacity multiplied by 100. Relative humidity is equal to 20 upon 30 multiplied by 100. Relative humidity is equal to 66.66%. Relative humidity of air is 66.66%.
If the absolute humidity of the air is 15 gram per meter cube and the vapor holding capacity is 15 gram per meter cube, then what is the relative humidity of the air?
Answer: given absolute humidity is equal to 15 gram per cubic meter. Vapor holding capacity is equal to 15 gram per cubic meter. Relative humidity is equal to absolute humidity upon vapor holding capacity multiplied by 100. Relative humidity is equal to 15 upon 15 multiplied by 100. Relative humidity is equal to 100%. Relative humidity of air is 100%.
On the basis of the examples given above, tell which air is saturated.
Answer: that air is saturated whose relative humidity is 100%.
The amount of water vapor changes according to difference in temperature. Similarly, relative humidity also changes. Generally, relative humidity is more in the mornings and nights. In the afternoon, as temperature increases, relative humidity decreases. Near coastal areas, the relative humidity is high and so the air is moist. In desert areas, relative humidity is less. Try this. The teacher should make two groups of the students in the class. The first group should do the following activity under the supervision of the teachers carefully. Take water in a pressure cooker. Take off the whistle of the pressure cooker. Now heat the cooker. Take a lid with handle. After the water starts boiling, hold the lid at a distance from where the steam is coming out. Observe what happens. You must have observed that water changed into water vapor after it was heated. This vapor turns into water droplets when it touches the cooler lid. We can see the water droplets deposited on the lid. The other group should carry out the following activity. Take a glass with flat bottom. Put some ice cubes in it. Keep this glass in a room for 2 to 3 minutes. What did you see? In some time, you will see droplets of water on the outer surface of the glass. When the water vapor in the air comes in contact with the cold surface, condensation takes place. These droplets form on the outer surface of the glass. In the first activity, the steam from the cooker cooled and condensed into water droplets. In the second activity, the vapor in the air condensed into water droplets. Think about it. What will happen if the temperature of saturated air at 20 degrees Celsius drops down to 10 degrees Celsius abruptly?
Answer: the relative humidity of the air will increase abruptly. Rise in the relative humidity will lead to condensation or sublimation of water vapor in the air. Condensation or sublimation of water vapor in the air will lead to precipitation or snowfall.
Condensation, densification, sublimation. The process of changing the water vapor in the air into water is called condensation or densification. Also, the process of vapor, gas, changing into solid state is called sublimation. If the temperature of air reduces, its vapor holding capacity also reduces. When relative humidity of the air becomes 100%, vapor starts condensing. At this time, the temperature of the air should be at dew point. It implies that for condensation, temperature should be low and relative humidity must be high. In the free environment, condensation of the vapor in the air occurs around fine particles, dust, salt, etc. in the air. Dew, frost, and fog are the forms of condensation at ground level, while clouds are a form of condensation at higher elevation. Clouds and types of clouds. Clouds are a form of condensation at higher elevation. Condensation occurs around minute particles in the atmosphere. Condensed water or snow particles in the clouds are very fine and almost weightless, and so clouds float in the air. Land and water get heated because of the heat of the sun. Air near the surface heats up, rises, and becomes less dense. Hot air rises up. As it goes higher, the temperature of the air reduces and the moisture holding capacity of the air reduces. Relative humidity keeps increasing. The water vapor in the atmosphere turns into water and snow. This is the dew point level of that air. The level of condensation is determined by the water vapor in the air. Keep in mind that the freezing point is also dependent on the altitude and water vapor. Because of condensation, fine particles of ice and water float in the air at a greater height. They accumulate around dust particles in the air and become larger in size. Their accumulation together is called a cloud. Because of vertical flow of the wind, they float in the atmosphere. Like a kite which floats in the air as it moves higher and higher, the clouds too float in the atmosphere because of vertical flow. Clouds are found at different altitudes above mean sea level. Clouds which form at greater altitudes are formed from very fine snow particles. The process of evaporation and condensation occurs consecutively in the clouds. Specific type of clouds cause rainfall on the earth. The proportion of vapor is more near the earth's surface. As we go higher away from the sea level, the amount of vapor decreases. Hence, the clouds at a lower altitude are larger in size, while the clouds at higher altitude are smaller. Clouds are formed at different altitudes in the atmosphere. After observation, we can divide these clouds into three main types on the basis of their altitudes. The higher from the base of the cloud is taken into consideration. If the clouds are at an altitude of 7,000 to 14,000 meter, then they are considered as very high clouds. If they are at an altitude of around 2,000 to 7,000 meter, then they are considered to be medium clouds. If they are at an altitude of less than 2,000 meter, then they are low clouds. High clouds. These clouds are mainly made up of ice particles. They can be classified into cirrus, cirrocumulus, and cirrostratus. Cirrus clouds are mainly wispy. Cirrocumulus clouds look like groups of small waves. Cirrostratus are like a bedsheet with wrinkles. They generally have a hollow around them. Medium clouds. These include altocumulus and altostratus. Altocumulus are in the form of layers and have a wave-like structure. They are mostly white in color and have a grey shade. Altostratus are not very thick. The sun can be seen through them as if seen through a milky glass. Low clouds. These consist of 5 types of clouds. Stratocumulus have layers. Their color is white to earthy. Round clusters of clouds can be here. Stratus clouds have also layers. They are ash colored and their base is uniform. Nimbostratus has thick layers. They are grey ash in color and cause continuous rainfall and even snowfall. Give it a try. Look at the figure first. Now go out of the classroom in the ground. Observe the clouds in the sky. Discuss the following points in the class and write answers in your notebook. What was the color and size of the clouds? What type of clouds did you observe? Can these clouds bring rain? Give reasons. Cumulus clouds. These clouds are formed extensively from 500 meter to 6,000 meter altitude. The vertical flow of the air adds to the formation of these clouds. These are huge and dome-shaped. They are grey in color. Cumulus clouds are an indicator of pleasant weather. The vertical expanse of these clouds increase so much that they turn into cumulonimbus clouds and bring rain. Cumulonimbus clouds. These are characteristic clouds which are indicators of thunderstorm. These look like huge mountains. These are dense and dark in color. There is thunder accompanied by lightning. They bring rain with storm and may sometimes bring hailstones. But such a type of rain does not last long. The largest of these clouds bring rainfall accompanied with lightning. The top portion of these clouds has an oval-like shape. The clouds have a positive charge at the upper end and negative charge at the lower end. The land below them always has positive charge. Due to difference in the charges, electric charges are formed and lightning occurs, lighting up the sky for a moment. The air around the lightning rises up because of the heat, and this leads to a large thundering sound. As compared to other clouds, the raindrops of these clouds are larger because they move up and down a lot of times and accumulate more and more water. Drops become larger and larger and are unable to float in the clouds because of their weight. They fall in the form of rain. Sometimes the air in the clouds is very cold. As a result, these drops freeze and fall in the form of hail. We call them hailstones. Use your brain power. Find where the adjacent symbols are used while showing the weather of a place. Write their meanings.
Clear sky, no chance of rain. Moderately cloudy sky, chance of light rain. Cloudy sky, chance of heavy rain.
Do you know Cloudburst is a type of precipitation. Raindrops coming towards the earth are stopped in the clouds itself because of strong vertical winds. These drops change into hail. This makes a clouds heavier. The vertical winds are unable to bear this weight. This leads to heavy rainfall with large size hail. This is called cloudburst. It leads to a rainfall of more than 100 mm in a small area or particular region. This type of precipitation mainly occurs in mountainous regions. The states through which the Himalayan ranges passes experience such a type of rainfall.